From one side of the country to the other, the Strategies for Policing Innovations Initiative, or SPI, has helped curb serious crime problems like street robberies, substance abuse, repeat violent offenders, and gun violence. SPI represents a cutting-edge approach that helps police agencies use data to figure out what works in crime prevention and crime reduction initiatives. A decade ago, police departments were feeling the impact of budget cuts due to the recession.
So let's not make this debate about who's soft on crime and who's serious about crime. This debate is more about who wants to be creative and use the resources we have in a more efficient way.
The traditional task force approach to fighting crime was getting stale. Then strategies that initially were known as smart policing began to take hold in police departments across the country.
Well, what they're doing is we're sending our task force officers into areas where we know we've been dealing with problem people and problem locations. And instead of waiting for crimes to occur, the task force officers are out there and they're running into people who are part of the criminal element.
Police departments began to make data-driven decisions to help determine which crime-fighting strategies worked and which ones they should stop funding with taxpayer dollars. Today, the SPI program includes 57 law enforcement agencies, and 72 different SPI projects have been launched over the past 10 years in partnership with the Bureau of Justice Assistance. SPI sites engage in 5 key policing innovation practices. Systemic research is used to evaluate the effectiveness of new initiatives and help support resource allocation decisions. Analysis is conducted to help focus police on the small percentage of people in a community responsible for large percentages of the crime, using intelligence and data from a wide variety of sources in the community, not just police department data, to develop crime reduction strategies. Sustain an evidence-based approach through training, revised policies and directives, improved communication, and interdisciplinary working groups within the department. Outreach and collaboration with external government, criminal justice, and community stakeholders. CNA has had the privilege of supporting all SPI sites since their inception.
CNA is improving the rigor of police science by working with these police agencies and their research partners to develop and implement rigorous evaluation and research designs. In many instances in the past, when police agencies evaluate their own crime prevention work, they typically look at the before and after of a problem. Primarily by introducing the notion of having strong comparative designs in the evaluation of police work, we have increased the rigor.
What are some of those innovations? In Cambridge, Everett, and Somerville, Massachusetts, the SPI developed a deterrence program to prevent victimization. The 3 city law enforcement agencies identified prolific perpetrators and worked together to share information about habitual offenders, known associates, crime data, and other information about these individuals. In Rochester, New York, the SPI developed a risk assessment tool to reduce violent crime.
They developed a screening tool that officers took to the streets immediately following an act of street violence, where they would assess who was involved, what the dispute was about, and when and where retaliatory violence was most likely to occur. So in doing that, they were able to much more quickly address acts of violence on the street and prevent retaliatory violence and have dramatic reductions in street violence in Rochester.
For every 1-point increase in the assessment tool score, the odds of violence occurring in that dispute over time increased by 29%. SPI sites are also improving the rigor of police science and changing the law enforcement landscape in areas such as justice research and collaboration with partners such as parole offices, probation offices, and prosecutors. All entities must work together in a systemic approach. In Sacramento, California, the SPI connected the Sheriff's Department, a nonprofit organization, and California State University to link the chronically homeless with community and social service programs to improve their quality of life. In Chula Vista, California, the police department initiated a new approach to responding to repeat domestic violence calls based on documented and well-researched efforts in Huddersfield and West Yorkshire, England. The Chula Vista SPI initiative documented a 24% decrease in domestic violence crimes in the targeted area, which amounted to approximately 100 fewer domestic violence crimes per year.
I think the way that CNA has benefited most is that we have developed strong and mutually beneficial working relationships with these police agencies. It's developing these working relationships with operational police agencies that has actually taught us an awful lot about police science and how to address problems.
As all true innovation comes from meeting unmet needs, the justice community will continue to benefit from the challenges, successes, and insights from SPI sites as new strategies emerge in the communities they serve.